We're here today to remember William Wallace. In July of 1297, William Wallace and his men come up what is now the High Street. At that time it was just a rocky slope. This was a big hill, and Glasgow Castle stood where that hospital is. That's where Glasgow Castle stood. Now that building over there, the cathedral, that is the oldest building in Glasgow. That goes away back to the time of William Wallace. And William Wallace used to meet in there Bishop Robert Wishart. Bishop Robert Wishart helped William Wallace, and he also helped Robert the Bruce. Now, if you go into the cathedral and go down to the crypt, the tomb of this great Scottish patriot is actually down in the crypt. Bishop Robert Wishart. He was the Bishop of Glasgow at the times of the Scottish Wars of Independence. Now, not only was he a bishop, he used to don battle armour and take part in battles, fighting alongside William Wallace and later on Robert the Bruce. What a great patriot, and it's fantastic that he's actually buried within the cathedral here in Glasgow. Now what happened way back in 1297, July 1297, a great castle stood there, Glasgow Castle. It's all gone now, it's now a hospital. But what happened was Wallace split his army into two. He brought the 1st Division of the army up what is now the High Street, a rocky slope away back there at July 1297. The 2nd Division of the Scottish Army was led by his uncle, who was Adam Wallace. Now, what happened is that William Wallace's division came here first and took part in a great battle out here with the English. And it was neck and neck, really, 50-50 for a while. But then the 2nd Division of Scots, led by his uncle, Adam Wallace, come up from what is now known as the Drygate. And once the English saw this other division, they thought it was a massive army. So they fled, and William Wallace retook Glasgow Castle. Fantastic piece of history. Now later on, William Wallace was captured. He was captured in 1305, and he was taken down to London and Westminster, and he was put on trial where he was allowed no defence. I'll tell you something, folks, British justice hasn't changed all that much. It's terrible. He was allowed no defence, so he was actually sentenced to death down in Westminster. And what he said was, how can I be a traitor when England is foreign to me? After the so-called kangaroo court had made their decision, Wallace was stripped naked, he was put on a stretcher, and for 6 miles he was carried through the streets of London to eventually went to Smithfield in London. And at Smithfield in London, William Wallace was hung, drawn and quartered. And